This podcast is a proud member of Pod Nation Media Network.
I see ghosts, specters all around me, vivid and stark, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather round me. Where those moonflowers used to lost no more. Specters gather round here, vivid and stark, blazing the dark. Night by night, stare into the black where moonflowers used to grow.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal New Normal. I am your guest, as always, Jeremy, here trying to, lead the way to normalcy. Does it ever happen in this universe? God, no, we're not meant to get that way. And it's going to keep getting weirder, so let's start off by introducing my guest on this perilous path, as always. My guest is Sifu Aman Berry.
Hello.
You might say, Sifu, I've heard that phrase before on your show. Well, that's right. We had Aman's partner, Sadhu, on a month or two ago, somewhere around there. I forget the exact date, but we had him on then. His episode hasn't even released yet, but it'll be coming eventually. Backlog. But how you doing tonight, Aman?
I'm really good and honored to be here with everyone watching, you, and happy to support this community.
Well, we're always glad to have support in the paranormal community. That's for darn sure. But let me start off the same way I start off every interview. What led you down the path towards the paranormal?
Well, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I had some negative experiences in my house growing up. It's kind of personal, but shortly after my father died, the activity started picking up. I was 12, and as a child, I took it upon myself to learn everything I could because I didn't really have an option otherwise. So yeah, it started early for me.
Interesting. So what type of activity was it?
So I'll give you some examples. One time I was a young kid coming up the stairs and my dad's picture would throw itself at the wall at me, swear to God. It just came at the wall, bam, at me. Another time, I was with my mom in her bedroom, and both doors were locked. One of the doors had the bolts that go into the floor and ceiling, right? Yeah. The doors were kicked open, and the window shades were drawn up. So stuff like that. The shower would go from hot to cold. Glasses would be thrown around, like cups of water. What I would consider low-level stuff now, but it wasn't low-level to me when I was 12.
Well, of course. I mean, when you're 12, that'd be terrifying. That'd be like something to have a Scooby-Doo cartoon or a freaking movie. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. Well, where did your studies lead you as you became an adult?
Okay. So my first studies was with the Lakota people, the Native American, and it took me 4 years of training, and I became a Lakota exorcist. After that, I went to the military. After that, I studied with a Kabbalist exorcist. After that, I learned yoga and Kung Fu, but got certified in hypnosis, as well as got certified with various different paranormal organizations, and now I kind of run my own team.
That's what's up. So that's like reading a book almost. It's like the short.
Well, I did write a book. I'll show it to you here in a minute.
Okay. So when you started your team, what kind of investigating did you want to do versus what do you guys actually do now? Because it's always a little different from what I'm told.
God, the learning curve was so rough with this. Like, so now, do you want to hear about how I used to do it or how I do it now first?
Let's hear how you used to do it first, and then
we'll
hear how you did it.
Okay, so back in the day, I would do it all sorts of different ways. I would go when I was like 21 to 24. I would. It was a lot of legend tripping, right? Find local haunted hotspots, go take your readings, to interview the people, do clearings, stuff like that. Then it evolved into being proactive. So if I saw something happen in the news that I thought would result in a haunting, I would proactively go to that location and I would do my investigation and cleansing. After that, it evolved into me being sort of an administrator to other teams. So other teams would give me cases that maybe they were having some difficulties with, and I would be able to consult on that. Now I'm really proud of how we're doing it. So I call it the Paranormal Crisis Response Team, and what we do is we are in various online groups, message board groups, Facebook, all of them, and you'd be surprised how many people will post what I call paranormal distress calls, where they'll have a full story along with evidence shared to a Facebook post. So what I did was I made a psychic self-defense video that I send to these people for free, and then they usually interact with me, and I've gotten to the point where I can do like video chat house cleansings, where I can walk people through cleansing their own house instructionally through video chat, walk me through all the haunted rooms, teach them how to cleanse the house. And now we've gone global. Asia, Europe, South America, like being able to do it remotely has really taken the game to the next level.
Wow. I mean, that's something I never heard of anybody else doing something like that. That's incredible.
No one else
that really is incredible.
No one else is. At least to my knowledge.
Basically Ghostbusters International. And if you didn't take that name, I swear to God, it was the biggest mistake you'll make.
I know, but I like it. So we this is my passion outside of work. I'm a security guard and I'm a massage therapist for work, but this is my next biggest passion than music. But like this is a big part of my life. So running this crisis response thing has been really rewarding. I have like so many people I've been able to help, and it feels good.
Well, that's great. So, when you said you were legend tripping a lot when you first started off,
yeah.
So were you just going after like the hauntings, or were you going after like the local cryptids and whatnot?
All of it, cryptids, UFOs, the whole thing, baby, the whole thing.
All right, we're gonna have a lot to talk about then, but I guess where in all this did becoming a Sifu come in?
Okay, that's a good discussion. So initially, I'm going to be honest, a big part of my early education, I realized that I would need to learn how to fight. That's one of the reasons I joined the military at 18, and I realized that at the level that I want to operate, in some instances, I will find myself in danger. That's like at the level I wanted to play the game, that's part of it. So I needed to be prepared for that. So I went into the military, and then I went to Iraq. And then when I came back from Iraq, my mental health was questionable, right? I had some situations I was working through, right? And it got bad for a little bit. But when I was on yet another alcoholic bender after I got back from the war, I met a Kung Fu teacher who taught me the other side of combat. Like in Kung Fu, they have a healing side and they have a combative side. So I went deep into Kung Fu in order to initially heal myself. Then I realized that, if I'm being honest, through using chi or human energy or projection of thought, there's a very ancient exorcist tradition in Kung Fu. Like there are specialty Qigong exorcists. So I studied the art of Qigong, Kung Fu, yoga, hypnosis. It all kind of blended into one for me. But becoming a Sifu was accidental. I never intended to teach. Now you can find me on my website or also at the Shambhala Dojo. I teach Qigong healing, I teach Kung Fu, and I teach paranormal investigation. But that was never my intent. I always wanted to be a practitioner. But I eventually got to a certain level in my art that just happened on its own.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you get high enough up, people are going to want to learn from you.
Right.
They're going to want to learn basically how to do what you do, and it's good. I mean, people need to teach. I mean, I find myself all the time having new podcasters come out to me and be like, "How did you get followers? How did you do this? And like, how do you edit?" And I gladly help because I mean, I had plenty of people give me advice when I first started, so I'm not going to turn someone down. Exactly. I'm not going to turn someone down looking for help. That's just the way it goes, and Hey, Nicole, thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing it out like always. Love you.
Nicole, hello. Okay.
But all right, well, we'll start off with the spirit
Hit me.
stuff because I mean I want to save the good stuff for last. So
Hit me.
when it comes to people who are investigators of hauntings and ghosts and all that good stuff, there's a question I always like to ask, and what was the most horrifying experience you had investigating a haunting or spirit or ghost?
You really want to know?
Oh God, yes, dude. I live for this stuff.
Okay. Can I put? I'll show you. I'll show you.
Oh,
I'll show you right now.
nice.
All right. I want to share screen. Yes. I want to share my screen. Okay. Can you see Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Now we can.
This is from my book, right? So here we have some evidence that I've collected on shadow people. We have earthbound human spirits, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to go through some evidence. This shadow apparition I'm going to share with everyone right here was from the case that I'm referring to. And someone actually died on this case. This entity was very good at mental manipulation and oppression, and it set up the situation where someone who was clean had an overdose of opioids in the house with the entity present and passed away. I did CPR, broke the ribs, everything, and then after the person died, you could hear laughter bellowing through the house. And then phenomena kicked off. Things were flying around, but I'll show you. So this entity right here, let me make sure everyone can see. Okay. All right. Can you see the screen okay?
It's a little, yeah, it's, I mean, can you maximize it? Like, make it bigger?
Yeah. I can do that. Okay.
Yeah, it's be better.
Okay, awesome. So this is a little blurry, you'll see. But here, you're going to see a shadow mass moving from behind a mirror. And I'll explain it as you go, but at the end, you'll see what I'm talking about. Peeking out from the mirror. Peeking out from the mirror again. Wait till the end. And boom. See that right there?
Oh, shit.
Boom.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Right. So that shows that they have an amorphous shape. They can shapeshift. They can manipulate their shape. So let's watch this again to the end because this bit's important. And boom. And it goes back. Right? We'll watch it one more time because it's worth watching. And so this is the demonic entity's natural form. Right? And you see here that it went from one state, changed state, and then right there, see there? There's a thing hanging off of it. Steve Mera also had evidence like this that came up. So that's one. Do you want to see more? We might as well go through the whole list.
Sure, might as well.
Okay. So that was from Ohio. So this book is available for sale on email me sifuamanberry@gmail.com. This is my paranormal investigation instructional book that I wrote. It's based off all my field notes for years. Sorry about my language. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to maximize this for us.
Yeah, that's.
I was seeing all this stuff.
45 seconds.
I hear like knocking on the wall and things like that, but
Right here. Look behind his shoulder.
I don't know what to say.
Here it comes.
I'm not scared though.
Bam. See that shadow person right there?
Yep.
Behind the door? So this was a guy in North Dakota. He had a violent haunting that manifested a death happened, a car crash happened outside of his apartment, and then phenomena latched on from that to his apartment. We were able to help him. Here we have a client in England who's where this one's really interesting. Pay attention to the upper right-hand side of the screen. You missed it. Okay, wait. Right there. See it go up the wall?
Yep.
Here's one more. Up the wall. And that little growl that went with it. So that's another demonic shadow apparition that I captured on an investigation. Here we have a really interesting one. This one, you'll actually see Sadhu Dah in this clip. You'll hear him. He helped me on this one. This is one of his captures. So
Nice.
Come on.
I have a phenomenon, shadow mass in the corner of the wall that grows. Yeah. Does she even grow?
There's one over there.
Right there. What's that?
Okay.
Damn, that's sexy.
What the heck is that? Is the wall bleeding?
Yes. And then it's going to retract. You'll see. Yes, it is. So this was, I'll tell you in a minute.
Not good for it to happen.
Okay. So I'll tell you more about that case in a second here. I'll go with that case. I'm not going to tell you the entity's name, but me, Sadhu Dah, and a Theravada Buddhist monk who will remain nameless at this point, was able to reverse that haunting. That woman was in a very bad way. She was being cut up, slashed up. Things were being thrown. Here's another good one. Which one's this? Okay, yeah, this one's interesting. Pay attention to the near the fridge. See that come out from near the fridge? Right here.
Yeah.
Watch it one more time. It's gonna popping out right now. Boom, right on the corner. Right.
That is creepy.
One more time, just so everyone can see it. Yeah. So those are all examples of what are called dark force entities. In this previous page, we have examples of human spirit phenomena. We got some cryptid stuff over here. But, yeah. So those were demonic entities. So to answer your initial question, I'll stop screen sharing for now. To answer your initial question, the Ohio one was pretty rough. I went there personally to start it up.
Sounds like it would be. I mean, that was the wall bleeding one, right?
No, that wasn't the wall. The first one I showed you with it coming down in that hook form, that one was pretty rough.
I mean, I can't imagine. It's funny because there's actually been creatures like that seen in my house.
Do you know? Have you done cleansing? Well, we can talk about that later. But
yeah, I worked with a Reiki master for a while. That was my show back last year, and she sent me some. I can never say the name of it, but the wood.
Palo Santo.
Yeah, and some sage as well. And my wife burnt both of them and cleansed the house, but we think it didn't. We think it's kind of like stoned whatever was here for a while. It didn't really evict it.
Right. And we can get into protection methods later, but do you have any questions? Do you have any more questions on that topic?
I mean, no, we can talk about protection stuff later if we get to it. But I'm curious to hear about these investigations because that's some of the best video footage I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is. It took a lot of work to get. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure for every 99 investigations where you get nothing, there's that one investigation that actually leads to something.
Took a lot of work, but yeah, that's what are you curious about? I'll answer anything.
Oh, I mean, well, actually, okay. I'm curious about the house with the bleeding walls. That's something straight out of like The Shining, a horror
Yeah,
movie.
that one wasn't good. That one wasn't good. So I'm hesitant to go into too many details, not only because I don't want to like tell people the entity's name that it took. There was a child involved, but
Okay.
what I can tell you is that this person reached out to Sadhu Dah, who brought me in on this case as a consult, and we worked it for a good almost a year before we had our breakthrough. So there was phenomena like that. There was batteries being thrown across the room. There was even intelligent communication. Some of these entities can text. Some of these entities can send emails even. I've seen. It's crazy. But I know that sounds insane, but they can.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that just be possessing a human body to do it? I mean,
yeah. I could go on a huge tangent about entity psychology, but she was in Russia at the time, so we were doing that one remotely, and we had to have help to fix that one.
Oh, I mean, I would imagine that one seemed pretty bad. I've never seen something like that in my life. Like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. So I've heard of stuff like that happening, but I just never actually have seen the proof of it. So, you say these are dark force entities or demonic entities. Where do these come from? Like, how did they get on our plane?
Okay. There are a couple theories. So I'm going to be real transparent with your audience. I don't know as much as I'd like about that answer. I just know what they do and how to stop them. But I've been researching where they come from for decades, and I still don't know for sure. I have theories. One theory is that they're an accumulation of negative human energy from the collective unconscious. Another theory is that they are negative entities from the infrared spectrum that are of a reptilian consciousness that comes through. And then we have all the classical theories about them being, demons from various traditions. Then we have the poltergeist theory. But I tend to think that they are an alien parasitic life force that latches onto, enhances, and amplifies human negativity, so that I think the parasitic model is the closest thing to accurate. So I think they're an astral parasite, to short answer.
Which, I mean, I've heard all those theories before, of course, and I kind of lean in the same camp as you on that. I mean, I don't believe in traditional religions in any way, so I don't think these are fiery demons from hell. But
they're happy to pretend to be.
Oh, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Deceiving is the best route to get what you want for those type of creatures. And I mean, they're definitely ultra terrestrial, I think, and they come from other. Yes. They definitely come from other dimensions, and whether it's just weak points. And I mean, I don't know if you heard of Lon Strickler, but he's a famous paranormal investigator. His theory, he worked with a lot of people a lot of families who had shadow people issues for years, and the negativity was always a big part of it. If the family was a negative family, the shadow people would take advantage of that and use that and get power from it.
100%. I think it's even more than that. I think there's a cumulative effect of negative psychic energy that has to be present for them to come through the portal, for them to manifest in our reality. I've had many cases, and you're right, oftentimes there's a lot of strife and trauma in the household, which is why when I do my protection meditation, when I teach them how to protect themselves energetically, it starts with changing their internal emotional state. Because the entities, they have a vested interest in breaking our emotional state down. So the opposite is also true. If we have a vested interest in amplifying and projecting positivity, light, and love in a genuine way, in a real way, then they'll have an inverse effect. The entity wants you down. So if you go up, you raise yourself out of the entity's vibratory field.
Makes sense. I mean, it does make sense. It seems almost too simple, but it is
that. It is that simple.
Because I was going to say, some things have to be that simple. Otherwise, this universe wouldn't work the way it does. I mean, and it's light versus dark. It's all it really is. At the end of the day, it's the light versus the dark, and it's just. I mean, as much as I hate to even sound religious, I mean, you gotta lead with the light to keep the darkness away, and in more of an emotional stance.
It's not even really religion. Like, if you study the Institute of Heart Math, they have proven that the human heart has a measurable electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 8 feet away minimum. So what I have my people do is I have them put their hand to their heart, think of a moment of gratitude, and allow that gratitude in their mind's eye to expand as a point of bright light, brighter than LED headlights, the brightest light they can imagine, radiating from their heart, connected to their own gratitude. And I just have them sit with that and breathe that gratitude in. You would be amazed how many times activity stops cold. It just, because it's raising their vibration. I have stopped phenomena cold with that technique.
I believe it. I mean, I would imagine it would work against these type of entities. Have you ever come across something that you really couldn't explain what it was, like that it was just such a like an unknown entity?
So I've been working this case for 10 years now, this one case in Connecticut, and this thing is pretty close to a match for me. I have been trying pretty much weekly for 10 years to try to reduce this thing, and just recently we had our breakthrough where through the separation of the individuals for some time, as well as the individual healing work and energy projection work, we have just now got this thing to the point where it's not manifesting. And it's a tenuous piece. I don't even really trust it. But this thing is hyper intelligent, hyper dangerous, able to manipulate people, able to pretend to be like, this thing is like the friggin' Arnold Schwarzenegger of demons. And this is the only one I've failed to actually, beat. But I've made some progress on it. So yeah, there are some weird ones out there.
10 years. God,
I'm very dedicated.
That's a long time. I mean, and a haunting in Connecticut too. That's just classic. Yeah. And Connecticut's, I'm in Massachusetts, so Connecticut's nearby, kind of.
You don't want any part of this one.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not an investigator for that reason, because I don't want to invite the darkness into my life. I have children to protect, so I stay far away from this type of stuff.
And that's a good point. I don't, so that's why I can get away with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a novice in all this. So if I try to put myself in even the slightest situation, it can go horribly wrong. I'm sure.
Knowing that's wise.
And I don't put myself in dangerous situations. I don't like to. But all right, let me get to a little bit of the juicy part of this.
Okay.
I want to hear what kind of cryptids you're investigating, because that's always something. Cryptids are why I got into this, and everything else just kind of came along the wayside.
So cryptids are cool. I love cryptids. I consider cryptids the fun part of this. That's the fun part. So I've investigated Sasquatch. I've only found. I haven't really found much. Maybe nothing of substance. I've even investigated Native American reports of dragon-like entities in the mountains. I've investigated fae. I've investigated elemental beings. Cryptids. Really interesting work by Dr. Simeon Hine regarding cryptids and their interdimensional nature. At least some of it.
Yeah, I used to hate the ultra-terrestrial theory for cryptids. I used to really hate on it, and then doing this podcast, I just kind of learned to accept it more and more, and now I kind of lean on that side almost, because I mean, as much as I like to think that Sasquatch, Bigfoot is a creature that's been here since the beginning of time, which even ultra-terrestrial, that could still be true. But, I mean, it's just, and I don't know if you heard, but a scientist out in California, she has found proof actually of Bigfoot, and she's working to publish it.
What's her name?
Last I heard, off the top of my head, I do not know her name, and I was told about her by Leslie Shaw. Okay. Leslie and Stephen Shaw, they're paranormal investigators, and Stephen Shaw is a third generation abductee. But the scientist has found urine samples of Bigfoot from a study she did in a lake up in Washington. And she also has hair that cannot be identified as any known creature on Earth.
I would not have thought to do urine samples. That's smart. Okay. Good for
Yeah,
her.
she wasn't even trying to find Bigfoot at this point. She was doing a environmental study on this lake, and she was like testing it for the urine, and they found all the known animals in the area. It's urine in it, of course, but then they found a urine that couldn't quite be nailed down to anything except like a primate, and there's no primates in the Northwest except for one, supposedly.
Right.
So, I mean, it's she basically. I think she's basically the closest we've ever had to anyone actually having legitimate proof. She's the closest thing we've had since the Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah, right.
And even that's still highly debated. It's 50, 60 years later. So, I mean, this scientific proof might be what we need. It might be the next big government announcement that, yeah, we've known about this thing for hundreds of years. We're just going to tell you about it now.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But what is your theory on Bigfoot? I'm dying. I like to hear people's theories on Bigfoot.
All right. So based on the evidence I've seen, it does seem to have a physical component. So when it's here, it is physical when it's here, right? It has hair, it has urine, it has all the trappings of being physical. So the only thing that makes sense to me is it must potentially be coming from a dimension very close to ours, but maybe slightly off center. Because there's also reports of unexplained electrical activity when Bigfoot manifests. There's also activity of corresponding UFO phenomena. There's also reports of the smell of ozone. So there's a lot of evidence of some sort of interdimensional interplay. Now, it might be due to the positive magnetic fields. Like Steve Mayer's work shows that paranormal phenomena can be correlated to positive magnetic anomalies. So that might be a part to play as well. But to be honest with you, I don't know, man. I don't know for sure.
I mean, no one knows for sure. That's the point of this. But it's, I mean, and I agree with everything you said. I mean, all this stuff has been proven to be true. So I don't know. It's still hard for me to not want to go with the Gigantopithecus theory. But that was just that's the first theory I ever learned, and part of me always wants to stick to it. But we can't stick to these things. But kind of curious about these because you're not the first investigator I've had talk about dragon-like entities, and I'm kind of curious as to what you found when you looked into it.
So I got to the top of the mountain where they said these things were. So it's gonna sound weird, but I'll tell you what I found. I did not find any direct evidence of a dragon, but I did find what looked like pieces of heavy metal that were dropped from height into the ground. There was no way. It looked like man-made metal, but I wasn't sure. It's been there a minute, but it looked like some sort of structure of some kind was dropped from a high altitude, and it looked, I don't know for sure, it looked like there were claw marks in it. Did I get evidence? No. Why? Because I was young and legend tripping, and I didn't know any better. But that's all I saw.
I mean, that's interesting enough, though. I mean,
yeah.
And everybody knows that according to lore, dragons they like metal. They like different types of metal. Like they guard treasure. They guard treasure, and to them, metal would be treasure. So, and I mean, I wish you had a picture of the claw marks in the metal. I really wish you did, but
I was too young. I know. I didn't know how to do this properly.
I mean, it's funny because the other investigator, actually, Lon Strickland was the other investigator I had, and he investigated reports of dragons coming out of mines in Pennsylvania.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, which I thought it lined up perfectly with like a dragon's MO.
Yep.
And I mean, a lot of people like to dismiss this in the paranormal world because it's like dragons, that's mythology, that's fantasy, that's not real. And I'm like, how can you be so sure? There's not stories of something all over the fucking world, and then not have some kind of basis to it. I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna come steal the princess or steal the president's daughter and like take her away to the cavern, but these creatures have to exist in some shape or form, whether it's ultra-terrestrial or they're actually just creatures that have been on Earth for longer than we have, and they learned how to hide because we were killing them at some point. That's where all the medieval time stuff comes in. But I think they just learned how to hide, and just like same as Sasquatch when it comes here, like it learned how to hide because it had to. And I don't know. And then again, you gotta remember, folks, dragons are not gonna look like what we think they look like according to like movies and stuff. They can look different. I mean, I tend to hear a lot more that the Asian Chinese version of them is more accurate, the snake-like version. That's a more accurate version of them compared to the big, thick-winged things we think of. But those are almost more gargoyle-ish than dragon in a way. But well, I mean, since you mentioned that you train with the Kodos, and have you ever gone into Skinwalker territory? I don't know.
I'm in Washington, so I haven't done a personal Skinwalker investigation, but I want to.
Because I mean, I just had someone recently get in touch with me who wants to come on my show to discuss that, and I'm like, it's rare to find people who actually have interactions with them to some degree. Like, there's a lot of reports of people encountering them. I've heard tons of tales of people encountering them, but just to actually talk to someone who investigates them is a whole nother story, because they don't want to talk about it for reasons, or it's not something you come across. And like you said, it is very area specific. You can't just be anywhere and come across these creatures, supposedly.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but what? Well, actually, you're in Washington, so you're kind of close to this. So you mentioned reptilians earlier. Do you think reptilians are actually extraterrestrials, or?
Honest answer is I don't know, but putting that aside, the way I use that term is more akin to a level of consciousness. I've heard from good researchers that on some level, these dark force entities do have a reptilian form that they can shift into. The shadow mass can condense into a reptilian form. Have I seen that personally? No. Have I heard about like people I respect have? So I do believe that alien's an interesting term. I think I don't know. Like reptilian behavior and acting from a very cold-blooded and clinical perspective, you do see that with the dark force entities, but like whether I fully follow like the David Icke paradigm, I'm not certain.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Golden City beneath LA thing is kind of far-fetched, in my opinion.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, secret bases across the world, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of areas that humans don't go into all around the world. Right. So who's to say that can't happen? But I don't know. I don't feel like there's a city of them somewhere. I feel like, and I definitely feel like they've infiltrated our government to some degree.
If we're going to have this discussion, though, my honest opinion is most of this is an interdimensional phenomena. Like you say, very unlikely there's a reptilian city anywhere that we can find, because I think it would have been exposed by now. You can make an argument to the other, but my feeling is that this is like a lot of investigators say, we have different names for different parts of the same phenomena, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where it's at.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, and I don't know. Reptilians are one of those things where I'm like, me and my co-host on one of my other shows I used to always like, whenever reptilians would get brought up, we would just be like, yeah, Hillary Clinton. But it's just, I don't know. There's too many videos of eyes shutting.
I've seen them too. Yeah.
And I mean, they definitely infiltrate our media, our politics, and everything else, because they have some grand plan. I'm sure they do. These dark forces, they have some grand plan as always, because they want more power, because that's what these things always want, is power. So I don't know. It's scary. I mean, and the fact that paranormal is becoming the new normal, I think scares them. I think it scares them that more and more people are talking about this, and eventually it's going to lead to something, and that's going to cause a lot of issues for them. And I think that's why they're trying to shut. That's why honestly, I think that's why there's so much wrong with the freaking world, because I think they're trying to distract us from finding out the truth.
And imagine how powerful it would be if people just got the one point that there's an inverse relationship between your positive emotional state and them going away. And if they understood that every interaction from a dark force entity is designed to bring you down, and if you deliberately bring yourself up, that basic understanding filtering through consciousness would change things in so many haunted houses.
Oh, it would. I mean, if people were aware of what they might be walking into when they buy a house, if people were aware of what they might be walking into anywhere on the world, I mean, you can go to your job and deal with these things if you work in an old building that has had, especially if you're. I just had a former nurse hit me up today because she wants to tell her stories about things she's seen in the hospital. And I was like, okay, I'm down for that. I'm like, I love those types of tales. Like I'm down for that. Like places like that are the darkest. Asylums, hospitals, any of these types of things are the darkest places known to man, because there's been so much tragedy and negativity. And 100%. It's basically like a nest for these types of dark forces, which is awesome. But all right, I got us in the last part, at least a little bit of the last part of this. We got to talk about, well, I mean, there's a lot of different types of extraterrestrial investigation that people do.
Yeah.
What types do you do? What types do you do? Are you doing mainly UFOs, or are you looking for like actual species?
Again, let me show you. I got more evidence for you. Here we go. So this was one in. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay. Let me pull this up. So this was an investigation I was consulting on, based out of Arizona. So check this. You'll see lights in the sky right here.
Oh, there's two, right? You see? I told you. I'm not crazy. No, wait. Let's finish.
Wait for it.
It's interesting.
It's going to come through.
Johnny, get to your question in a second, Johnny.
You see? A third one.
Third one.
Look, and then that one might split. They've been doing that for a minute.
There's going to be a fourth one.
Amazing.
There's going to be another one.
Right there. Where? Hold on. It just went away. You see how they're fucking moving? Look, there's a fourth one.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
No, let's finish watching this. No, let me call my sister.
So,
hey, well, before you go to the next one, we have a question, and I do like to show my questions that people have. Johnny Midnight wants to know: are the Anunnaki and the biblical watchers the same entities?
Wow, Johnny is an advanced practitioner. Okay, you want to take this one, or you want me to?
I will let. No problem, Johnny. You don't gotta get threatening. It's all good, buddy. But yeah, I'm gonna let you take it, because I honestly don't know if I know the answer to that. I mean, I don't know enough about it.
I'll do my best with it. So, to my limited knowledge of this material, I think what you're referring to as the biblical watchers were probably second or third generation Anunnaki. If we're understanding Anunnaki in the classic sense, they were, by some account, 17 to 50,000 years ago, right? But if we're going to follow this historically, the Anunnaki did, according to the lore, did some genetic experiments, influenced people. I mean, obviously, if you bring that question up, you know the general story. So I think what biblical watchers are a second or third generation offspring of what you're talking about. Now, there are some theories that the watcher concept is ultra-terrestrial as well, but that kind of goes into territory that I'm not. There's also theories that the Anunnaki were also like interdimensional in nature as well too. So it gets really convoluted going in. But to answer your question, no, in my estimation, they're not the same, but they're related. I hope that helps.
I mean, see, the biblical watchers thing is what's throwing me, because I was brought up on the Bible, but I'm not like I haven't really like discussed it or read into it in a long time. And when I hear watchers, I think of the ones in that in the forest in California that the settlers like had to deal with, and there are stories of.
No, that's a different thing. He's talking about something different than that.
Okay, I mean, but yeah, I mean, what the timeline lines up for what you're saying, at least, because the Anunnaki were on Earth supposedly way before we were, and
Right.
I mean, may have had a hand in creating us for all we know, as legend goes, the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians. But we really, I mean, no one can really know that. I mean, I've had people on the show who talk to Anunnaki and talk to Pleiadians and Arcturians. Actually, Dean Graves, who talks to Arcturians, is coming back on in a couple weeks. But which actually, first time I ever heard that name was with him. But I mean, all these. Yeah, Johnny says one's Christian and one other Sumerian, very confusing. Yeah, I mean, it is confusing.
But it's connected though. But we that's a different discussion. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to. There's so much theory about like these beginning extraterrestrial creatures that were supposed to be founders of Earth, basically, and it's a tough subject to get into. I try to break it down on other shows, and it just does not go well if you try to break it down and you don't have all the research in front of you like to go off of, because it's such a. You're also trying to go off of what humans call a timeline, and that's a whole nother subject. So false history.
And there's the cultural lens, the lens of time. That's why what I like to do as an investigator is I focus on measurable phenomena that I can see in front of me. I don't really put a story to it.
Yeah, I mean, we all know these authors who wrote these types of legends and hoping that either they had some sign from somewhere this was actually the truth, or they're just trying to get people to believe it's the truth. We don't know. I mean, Chariots in the Sky basically is all but been erased because of what we've learned since then. So I don't know. It's a tough topic to fully embrace on any show. I mean, Anunnaki are nobody really knows, but so that was the UFO video though. That was amazing. Like that was some very clear shots of it, and very obviously nothing we know. It's not a plane, not a copter or anything else. It's got to be something unknown.
No, I'm very stringent in the evidence that I share publicly. I'm very. I have so much more evidence that you haven't seen that it's just not up to par. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, everybody has. I mean, most people, not everybody. Most people have like some video of a light in the sky they can't explain. But I'm sure if someone actually looked into that date, that time, a lot of them can be disproven as satellites or planets or something else. But that can't. I couldn't disprove that if I wanted to, because that was obviously a craft of some kind. So. Yeah. And have you ever actually looked into any abductions or any extraterrestrial landings on Earth?
Yeah. So I've explored not only that, I've also explored Stephen Greer's CE5 idea of conscious direct communication with these higher intelligent beings. I've had some success with that. I think it has to be done carefully. But I've investigated some, like I can think of 3 abductions I've investigated over the course of my 2 decades.
What was the most interesting one that there was? Like,
so what was interesting was when I went into this lady's room, she said the entities were coming through the wall. So when you took a black light to the wall, like there was some sort of residue of some kind. Its nature I'm not sure of, but it was big. It was oval shaped. So that was interesting. Her mental health state was, compromised based on what she'd been through. But when I got her apartment under the black light, all sorts of interesting things that did correspond with where she said things were coming through.
That's interesting that there actually be like some kind of residue. I mean, one, you'd think they'd be smarter than that, than leave something behind that people could find. But
if they were really aliens in the way we're thinking about them.
True. I mean, What do you think about the idea? Because I mean, I've heard all these tales from abductees and other people that have called in their sightings to other podcasts I listen to. And what do you think about the idea that certain extraterrestrials like Greys can shapeshift to what we want to see, or what would ease us and make us like be less worried when they walk in a room?
I might have a picture of that here somewhere. I think the shape shifting gray concept. I think there is something to that. I actually have a picture of a gray here. I'm just want to make sure it's not connected to my client information wise. But I do have a picture here I can share. Which one was this? This one. Okay. All right. Yeah, and this lady's okay with me sharing these details. I do have permission to share this, so this will be okay.
Okay.
Let me share screen again. Okay, so here we're gonna take a look at a case file, right? So this is this woman here and her family were experiencing aggressive paranormal phenomena that have been increasing escalation for 10 years, including manifestation, things, blah, blah, blah. We did our protocols. Here's her text messages to me confirming that things are better. And at the bottom of the screen, you'll see this gray short figure here, right here. And you can, for scale, you can see it next to this banister here, this child door. So here you have, I would argue that this is an example of what you're referring to, a negative dark force entity taking form of a gray. I'm not going to share the other evidence here because there are kids involved, but you can see here. See that?
Yep.
Okay. So that would be an example of what you are referring to.
Yeah, which Johnny actually said that Steve Quayle believes all aliens have demonic origins, especially the Greys. And I actually had a astrophysicist, I believe he was, or astrologist. I forget what he exactly was, but that was the whole point of him coming on in the book he wrote, is that he believes all extraterrestrials are demonic, and that he believes that people who are abducted were doing something like listening to heavy metal or having premarital relations. And
I take issue with that.
You don't know how much restraint took me in that episode not to say what I wanted to say the whole time. But trust me, I had to hold back a lot in that episode and just kind of get through with it. That was not easy. He was a nice enough guy, and I mean, he was a little bit of a dick when he came to getting his point across. But he was a nice enough guy for the most part, and I didn't want to go off on him on my own podcast. So that'd be not cool. But Johnny says L.A. Marzulli too, which. That name I don't know. I know Steve Quayle, but I don't know Ellie Mark. Oh,
I do.
Yeah, okay.
Can I speak to his point for a minute? So,
be my guest.
Okay. So, what you bring up is real interesting, right? UFOs having a demonic origin. But what if we take this a different angle? What if the demonic idea was also a mask, right? So, what if these negative experiences of negative grays, demons coming into the room, manifesting, if you look at the actual phenomenology of a night hag manifestation and a gray materialization, the mechanisms are almost identical. So what if negative grays, what if demonic entities, what if certain forms of negative extraterrestrials, what if the negative reptilians are all masks of another phenomena that has the ability to mask itself in line with our belief systems. So, to the point of UFO, I would argue some UFOs do have a demonic element to them, if we're going to use the term demonic for what it generally means. But I think to say that UFOs are demonic still stays within a box, right? I would say that the manifestations of the negative gray is an example of negative phenomena. The example of demons manifesting as such are examples of negative phenomena. Even the Fae or the Jinn to some degree, which some argue are the same. But all of these things, if you go down, if you look at what they actually do, you'll find they're damn near identical. So is it more likely that the aliens are pretending to be demons, or that both demons and negative grays are a mask for something else? Just something to think about.
which I 100% kind of get behind that, because I mean, I think there is something out there that we can't identify yet, and that we've drawn so much pop culture around these different species and different names of things, because we could make a BC horror movie off of anything nowadays. So I mean, when it comes to Jinn, though, I mean, to me, I've had guests on who've been haunted by jinns, and not the old school jinns make 3 wishes and I'll go back where I came from, but like the newer jinns, and like the new jinns kind of do sound like demons in a way. They kind of sound like the traditional Christian demons, and I don't know. I feel like these people aren't experiencing the real jinns, because I think there are real jinns out there. There has to be. There's so many legends of them. There has to be something, like same as the dragon thing. There has to be something in history that they've existed, and these are not real jinns. I don't think people are dealing with anymore. I think it's just they don't know, in that part of the world they don't call them demons. I think it's just what it is.
Exactly. So let's look at 3 types of hauntings side by side. Let's look at a jinn haunting, let's look at a demon haunting, and let's look at an alien abduction. What do all these 3 things have in common? Number 1, they feed off human fear. Number 2, they influence the electromagnetic spectrum. You'll see electronic malfunctions, you'll see cold spots, you'll see like gravitational wavelength anomalies, you'll see direct voice communication. All the phenomena are the same, but it's like, I'm Indian, so it's like different kinds of curry. It's all curry, just different flavors. You know what I mean? It's probably not the best example, but they have a similar base to it, right? There are too many commonalities between those types of phenomena for me to be convinced that they're separate.
And you might just give me the name of the episode, just saying. But that actually might be. I just wrote that down, but that's actually good.
What are you talking about?
It's all curry, just different flavors thing. That might be a good title for the episode.
Take it and run with it. I love it.
But I mean, yeah. And what's this you're saying, Johnny? Apparently, according to Steve Quayle, the biblical giants are returning, and they will come from the mountains and jungles. Lucifer and he says Lucifer is increasing its presence in the modern form, which I don't disagree with. I mean, I'm not gonna put Lucifer to it because I don't like the name. I don't like that. It's too biblical for me. But
yeah, the diabolical current certainly is, for sure.
I mean, that's the funny thing is there are, giants alone. I was just gonna bring that up, Johnny. Like the giants alone have been returning, like in some forms. I mean, the Kandahar giant incident with the military over in the Middle East, I think it was in the 2000s at some point. I forget the exact date.
Okay. There was footage of that?
There was pictures, I believe. Actually, no, there was footage. There was a video supposedly where you could see it. I mean, people try to claim it was a fake, just like they do with every other video in the paranormal.
With everything, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many people willing to talk about it nowadays that it had to be at least somewhat real. And I mean, forget her name, but she's part of the Small Towns Monsters crew, and she, on her podcast, The Lore You Know, she has done a lot of research into giants and giant graves across North America, and it's just funny that whenever one of these graves is discovered, the skeleton disappears within a day, and it's just kind of creepy that the government's working so hard to cover up the giant thing. Like, why? Or are you scared about us knowing? No, not Linda Motenhow. What the hell is her name? Okay, it's gonna drive me nuts now. I know it is. I know.
In India too, there are stories of giants in the Himalayas as well. Like from my tradition, there are stories of 7-8 foot tall people in the high Himalayan mountains who, some of them are positive, some of them not so much. But yeah, it's cross-cultural.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things that's across the world. And yeah, Johnny, her name is Heather Mosier. That's what I was thinking of, Heather Mosier. But apparently there's been films of giants in Peru and Mexico, and locally a YouTuber filmed also.
Thank you.
I've seen. There's that one video in Canada of like something standing on top of a mountain, and it's like huge. It's huge, and People try to say,
yeah.
people try to say it's a Bigfoot. People try to say it's a giant. Like, I don't know. It's just there's too much evidence for giants to not have it be a thing. I mean, and if you want to go the myth, okay, not even going the biblical route, but I mean the mythological route. There are so many stories of giants in every culture's legends that how could these not have some basis in reality? That's just the way I feel as well. Like it's
Yeah.
these giants have to come from somewhere. I mean, supposedly early circuses in the 1900s had a couple, and they, I mean, P.T. Barnum he bought a fake one because he's an idiot, but he also supposedly had real ones too, and the fake one was just like a way to get the newspapers off him. But I don't know. It's just there's too much.
There is evidence there. I don't deny that. Have I encountered it personally? No.
I don't know if you'd want to. I mean, I wouldn't want to run into it. I mean, I would, but I don't want to. I want an escape route. I don't want to have to get. I don't know what a giant's gonna do to me, and I don't want to find out. Like, that's there. There's not many humans that are bigger than me, but a creature that is that much bigger than me, I'm good. I'm good. It's like
imagine the evidence. Imagine the evidence you capture. But I take your point.
Exactly, and before we wrap this up, I just got to ask, since I mean you live in Washington, which is close enough to California or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of sea monsters?
That's interesting. So if you look at it from like a biodiversity standpoint, in the areas that they're spotted often, there's not enough fish or marine wildlife to sustain an animal of that size, right? So, like, I've looked into this a little bit actually. So, what, like, for instance, let's take the classic one, Loch Ness Monster, right? The classic thing that everyone thinks about. For an animal of that size to sustain itself indefinitely, it would eat that loch clean of all marine animals. So that makes me think in the same way, if land-based cryptids can be ultra-terrestrial, why can't water-based cryptids also be ultra-terrestrial?
I mean, yeah, there's that, and then there's the more classic theory that there's a passageway to the ocean in the loch, and that Nessie figured out how to go back and forth.
So, okay, that being said, there are other ones in the open ocean that have been seen, but you've actually given me new information because I hadn't heard about the passage theory. I will have to look into that because I'm genuinely curious. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's sightings all over the world of them, and the reason I brought up California is because one of the classic Monster Quest episodes, or not Monster Quest, Monsters and Mysteries in America, one of the classic episodes of that showed, like, it was a tale told by two brothers who were, or two friends, something like that, who were hanging out by the pier in a city in California, and they saw some creature pop its top half its body out the water, like right by the pier, and then go back in the water and swim away. So, I mean, but you're right. There's a lot in places where there's not enough food source.
Like, it doesn't make sense. There's like I've looked in. I did a deep dive on this. It just doesn't make it. Something doesn't add up.
I mean, Johnny said, like, there's so many sightings, especially in the River Thames in England, which it's a river. It connects to the ocean, but it would be a long swim for a creature to constantly go back and forth, unless it's swimming from one side of England to the other, maybe. I don't know England geography enough to know where the Thames really runs.
That'd be tough. That'd be.
I mean, and apparently a frozen river creature was filmed by a federal land officer on YouTube, which I haven't heard about that or seen that, but
it's plausible. I don't like.
I mean, I believe it. Federal land officer, which is a term I never heard before, but I mean, forest rangers. These are the ones who are coming out and saying, like, Bigfoot is real. Like, there are national parks in America putting up Bigfoot warnings, and it's how can they do this if the government doesn't admit this thing is real? Like, there's something missing. There's some step here that's just got skipped over. Like, okay, we're not going to tell people. We're going to put up signs.
It's soft disclosure. It's soft disclosure. It's like a half measure, right?
Yeah. It's don't sue us because we tried to warn you. Measure. Right. That's all it is. Like, that's really all it is. And Johnny says, reality is we don't know much about our waters. At least mainstream doesn't. Yeah, we don't, because
I would agree.
we know next to nothing about the oceans, and that's the scary part. Is we know more about the moon than we know about the ocean. Well, we think we do than we know about the ocean. I mean, don't get me started on the whole don't get me started on hollow moon theory and the alien base that's in the moon, because I believe it's real. But and I think it's crazy. But personally,
I've seen the evidence for the moon thing. I think there's something to it. I won't go as far to say who's in there, but I have seen the evidence.
I mean, there's a reason we didn't go back. There's a reason we didn't want to go back. And there's a reason they all look terrified in the interview, which means either the government faked it all and is making them lie about it, or the government said, you better not tell about what you saw up there. Either way, the government's telling them something.
It rings like a bell, too. When there were nukes detonated on it, it rings like that's not right. Right?
No. It rang for what, 11 minutes, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no, that's not right at all. But I think that's where we'll leave it tonight, because it has been over an hour, and I don't like to keep my guests too long. But we had a freaking amazing episode. Love the audience interaction. Oh, don't get me started in Antarctica, buddy. Johnny, do not get me started in Antarctica.
Yeah, that's another podcast, bro.
That seriously, I could do a whole episode on Hollow Earth in Antarctica. So that's a whole nother topic. But Aman, where can they find your book and everything you do if they want to look you up?
I train people one-on-one in healing, kung fu, and paranormal investigation. I also do a paranormal investigation certification program, which will give you access to my book. You can reach me at Sifu Aman Berry at gmail.com, or you could find my YouTube, which is the Shambhala Dojo. Those are the best places to reach out to me.
All right. And of course, those links will be in the description for all you listeners, so you can click and go. And you all know where you can find me by now. If you don't, fucking shame. But check the outro. It's all there. All the watchers, just go where you're watching. That's where I am. But I will be back on Monday with another interview. I'm taking tomorrow. Well, I don't have anything planned tomorrow. So I'll be back on Monday with another interview. And I think I got 3 next week for you guys. So lucky you. But thank you, Aman, for coming on. And everybody else, have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
You can find me on Facebook as Jeremy Bryant, or you can find me as Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective Facebook group. You can find me on Twitter and the Instagram as @JugglerBastard, or should I say X now. And you can find me on TikTok as @JugglerBastard Podcast. You can also find me on YouTube as Paranormal The New Normal. And you can also find me streaming on YouTube as Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge is blind until they admit Bigfoot exists.